yo, no maniacs. Good afternoon. This is Nomad Live, all Bears all the time, in conjunction with Sports Zone Chicago and the SuperBack Shawn Sierra. Got a couple more of my trustees with me today. The Canuck joined us up in here from Canada. We got Keith down there at the bottom. And man, listen, man. Hey, all I can tell you is if you saw the thumbnail, then you know exactly where we're about to go. There's been no leaks out of Hallis Hall that I know of. Not a peep, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I've heard. And, I think I'm reading the same things as everybody else, every reporter, every local, national. I get the same kind of information that they do. Maybe they get a little something that we don't know about. I don't know. But to my knowledge, there has been zero, and I say absolutely zero leaks out of Hallis Hall. But listen to the reporters. The trade, Justin Fields' trade is an afterthought. It's a foregone conclusion. It's going to get done. What I believe is happening is what exactly I told you was going to happen around this time, that they were going to amp up the pressure. And this is a pressure campaign. I believe it's a tactic. However, I think this would definitely work in Ryan Poles' favor if the idea is to actually move that pick and get the haul. But let's talk about it first about, the media. I mean, they have gone to wits end to try to pass off that narrative that it's just a matter of time. They've been saying it for weeks and nothing's happened, but they're still repeating it and nobody knows really anything. But I digress, kids. What do you think about the whole thing? You want to get some shout outs or anything like that?
Yeah, let's give some love to the chat. Mitch Osborne, Oliver Chapman, Jose Sanchez, Renetta, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Billy Ocean again, Caribbean Queen one more time. Jay Grizz, Jay Sanders, FFG, my boy Plank. What's up, Plank? Geez, man, it's great to see everybody just jumping in full go. Bear Truth 9, Armando. Great to see all y'all in one time at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard for the rest of y'all. In any event, I'm going to skip over where we are here, Nomad, because I'm as confused as all get out. I don't know what's up or down anymore. Sounds like we're getting news in and around Atlanta's participation in trade talks, in and around Pittsburgh's participation in trade talks, but I don't know whether to trust it, believe it, or doubt it at this point. So, Keith, what do you think, brother?
Ed, I'm with you, man. I'm to the point now where I'm almost wanting a trade to take place so this young man can go somewhere where he's appreciated. If everybody wants to turn their back on this young man and he was the whipping board for everything that took place, and we now hold polls or certain coaches accountable for the things that took place prior to, then let that young man be free and let him go somewhere where he's appreciated. And perhaps either the Bears get it right this time around, or they continue the same cycle that they've been chasing after for the last century, to say the least. But I digress. Before I go any further, shout out to all the No Maniacs. Thank you very much for participating with us today, joining in. Really do appreciate it. You guys are already warming up the chat, so keep it up. But other than that, man, I'm about sour on it at this point, man. I'm really tired of hearing it. I get what Poles is doing, doing everything he can to leverage it. What I did find interesting, though, with all of the chatter is how Minnesota's name has gotten thrown into the mix now, which makes me believe that there's no truth to it, because we all know you're not going to trade your quarterback to a division rival unless you just absolutely think he's garbage. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to my man Shawn and let him speak.
Before you do, I think me and you are like the two guys who are on that take. I know I would never even pick up the phone and speak with people who live in the Minnesota, Wisconsin state. Like if I was Ryan Poles, but outside of that, it's a possibility, I guess. Right, Shawn? What do you think?
Just the thought of people thinking, I don't know why they have this. Ryan Poles is running a tight ship. All right, he's put on a master's class of how to be a GM. He's not listening to these people, and I really can't wait. And believe you me, I'm going to be petty when it all comes out, when they announce it.
Hey Sean, I can't wait to sing this song. Ain't it funny how tables turn? The things ain't going your way.
Dude, it's, when no one has said, literally nothing's come out. But as you said, according to many media members, it's a foregone conclusion. You can sit there and say everything you want, and you're gonna look silly when it comes out and you got to walk it back. But we know how it's going to go, because they're not going to take accountability for it. They're going to say, they're going to attack Ryan Poles and say, "Oh, you just signed your death certificate. You sealed the deal. You're done. You're the worst GM in history. How can you pass on a generational quarterback 2 years in a row? How can you do this? He's not going to let." They're going to start focusing and deflecting that. And that's cool, because trust me, I'm gonna put them on blast. I got tons of receipts. And listen, if for whatever reason they trade Justin, I got a lot of crow to eat. I got tons of sweet baby rays over there, so I'll be ready.
Man, let me tell you guys something. There's a note that sticks out in my head every time we talk about this and have this conversation, which is every time we do a show lately. But I always think about those 4 wins that we probably should have had. And, in a position, and we're blowing leads, and he's doing what he needs to do as a quarterback. And we still ended up dropping 4 games that we should have won, right? I always think about that. And I wonder if we had won those 4 games, would we be having this conversation? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. In fact, you as an evaluator, when you look at those things, when you consider all that under the circumstances, to me, it just seems like this all seems like a big giant chess play to me. It really does. And I'm like Shawn, if and when that happens and I have to pivot, I will. I will do just that, and that's just because I'm a Bears fan first. But, for a person, I'm the kind of man that, loyalty is a big thing for me. Right now, Justin Fields is the quarterback. And it's disrespectful to have watched all these reporters at the combine sit there and ask these receivers question after question. How would you feel about catching balls from Caleb Williams as a Chicago Bear and all this old bull crap? It's disrespectful to the kid, man, and it's disrespectful to basically their business, man, because it's just they've gone from being actual objective journalists into spinning a story that to benefit them. And that's because of the world of podcasts, social media, YouTube channels, and all that stuff that comes with it. But then again, it could be just people who have just lost good and all integrity. You know what I mean? That's foul to me. But that's me, and that's how I feel about the whole situation. However,
but bro, they want to be shock jocks. They want to ask the crazy questions. That's what people want to do. All right, they don't want investigative. They don't want to be investigative reporters. They want to ask the shocking questions, and that's what this platform, has provided a lot of people, and that's all they're doing.
Okay, well, look, let's twist this a little bit, because there's a few notes that I have, and we'll just go note by note. We'll just kind of concentrate on each little point. I got some PowerPoints. What did you guys feel about Caleb not doing his medicals? He refused to do his medicals with the Bears.
Man, I don't like any of that. And we talked a little bit about my feelings on this yesterday. After the show, me, Nomad, and Keith, and I don't like the idea of players just poo-pooing on the entire combine experience. Now, Nomad actually gave me some good understanding yesterday as to why they would, and I'm in agreement there too. But I feel at this point there should really be, somebody should take a step back and go, okay, maybe we need to reassess what the combine represents and why we're having these kids do this, that, and the third. Now, what I will say about Caleb Williams specifically is none of this really bodes well for his visage, his view as a team first guy. It makes him look much more like a me first or an I guy, right? Like it really does. And that same visage, that same optics, those same optics go for Marvin Harrison Jr. and the rest of the guys who decided that they weren't going to participate in any capacity. Not doing the medicals and not doing and not participating to me does not bode well if I'm trying to get an assessment on somebody I'm going to spend big draft capital on. That's where my head is with this.
Go ahead, Keith.
I have to agree with you, kids. And I thought about something after our conversation last night when I was just sitting around after we had, left the studio. And this hit me. Caleb made a comment, only one team's going to draft me, not 32. But then I thought about it. I said, well, but out of those 32 teams, any team may want to draft you. If that means even whether they have a quarterback or not, they may decide to trade up to draft you because they find you to be that guy. So the fact that you chose not to share your medicals, and this is not just him. Same thing go with the other ones who basically followed suit. But what I will say with regard to that, Marvin Harrison did provide his medicals. He just didn't participate in any of the activities other than a few interviews. So for me, I find it kind of, I'm with you, Kez, to separate yourself and not seem like that team guy or that guy that says, no matter, I'm going to do what the team does. Because one, you're in that position of being a leader. So you got to set that precedent coming in the door. And you're walking into a den, which is I call the locker room, where if by chance you do end up being drafted by the Bears, you got a lot of guys to convince in that locker room that you're that guy. Because right now they've rallied around their guy. And if Poles make that decision, he got some shoes to fill. Regardless of statistics, he's got to convince 51 other guys in that locker room that he can be that guy, that the guy currently has shown them who he is. And I'm going to put it out there. He is him. Well, Shawn, what's your thoughts?
You want me to repeat the question?
Please.
So how did you feel about the fact that he didn't do medicals? And just for the record, he didn't do medicals for all the teams.
Right.
But, in particular, this is the number one pick, and he's declining to do the medicals. That should raise some kind of red flag, I think, in my opinion.
No, they're entitled, bro. You made $10 million. This is what you're gonna expect. Okay, you've empowered the athletes. All right, you with the NIL. All right, there's still rumors, and whether true or not, about him wanting ownership stake in whoever drafts him. Okay, they're getting very bold. They're trying to make this like the NBA or the NBA. So I understand his point. There's only going to be maybe 8 or 10 teams that have a chance to draft him. He's just being a diva. All right, I mean, I couldn't care less. I understand there's certain things you might be able to find. I get it. I understand the whole thing, but this is going to be, I think this is the new NFL, man. I mean, it's. I would have liked for him to take those. I would have liked for him to, done that. If you didn't want to participate, fine. That's not a big deal. A lot of people don't participate. A lot of people haven't participated. It's been years. But just do something like that. Like, I don't know. It just seems it's very diva-ish because if everyone else does it, and it's not. I mean, I'm not asking you just because they do it. You have, but I mean, you're the first person in the combine in the history of the combine to not take your medicals. The first, but he's got leverage. He didn't throw. Okay, and to me, again, I don't understand why this whole thing makes a difference. It helps people. When it really comes down to, look at the film. End of story. End of story. Just because my man ran, 4.21, what if he can't catch? What if he can't block? What if he, you know what I mean? What if he fumbles a lot? Like all these things, like it's literally, this is what I talked about the other day when I said the NFL knows how to put on an event. This does not determine, okay, it can help, but you got to go back. What this does, I guess, is it makes you go back to the tape more. Like, wait a minute, how did we miss him? But this shouldn't be. You can't assess anything from a guy running around in shorts or spandex. That's really what they are. And your D linemen are going on. Well, I digress. Caleb, I didn't like it. I wish he would have done that, but that's the new athlete now, man. That's the new athlete. He's empowered. He's not working with an agent. You know what I mean? Everything is it seems like a lot of this is me, 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 me. Sometimes you just got to follow the company line for a little while. Okay? Follow the company line a little while. Okay? And then you can go, once you get in, then you can go do what you want to do. You know what I mean? But because of the NIL, he's just like, screw it. I'm going to do whatever it is that I want when I want because I got Tim. I don't need this. I can wait. Someone's going to draft me. And that's the problem with NIL. He's using it and falling back on it. So,
Kid,
Well,
hold on, kid, because I'm gonna feed you another one here. Because here's the next thing.
Nomad, before you do that, I just wanted to say I didn't like him not doing the medicals. That was a flag. Biggest problem I had with Caleb Williams the whole week was the question he said he asked the Bears was that, do you want to win? And it's almost like he's interviewing them. I mean, that's pretty cocky, man. I'm trying not to bust on the brother because
where you heard that, but that's.
No. It's readily available out there. Yeah, he said he asked
his press conference presser.
He asked them, "Do you want to win?" And so that to me, that just set the wrong way with me, man. That's all I want to add.
That is, to just now, I haven't heard that little tidbit, but that's interesting as hell.
Oh yeah.
We'll circle back to that. We'll circle back to it. But let me get this next one off then, because it's not a question. It's a PowerPoint, kids. They set up, you have to set up those 30 visits in a certain way to be able to facilitate who you're having coming in your building and, all the stuff that they have to do, the workouts and all that. And so they set it up for this Tuesday, tomorrow. And he declined it and told them he'll meet with them on the 20th. We'll stay right there. I'll just get your reaction.
Can you give me that one more time? What did they invite him in for?
They invited him for a 30 visit. They do those with 30. They get 30 visits every year, and he was the first one going to do come tomorrow. And he declined it and said he'll rather reschedule.
He rescheduled it. Just reschedule their meeting, the private meeting.
Just respond to that. Now, but I'm going somewhere. Just know that. Just respond to that part.
Oh man!
I just heard Russell Wilson got released. Somebody said that.
That was bound to happen. The money is not commensurate. They don't want him. He wants his money. We'll get back to the topic at hand. Holy smokes! I'm gonna ask just a simple question. Is there a scheduling conflict? He's got something else going on?
No,
I thought he was a professional football player, and the team who has the number one pick is hollering at you, talking about we want to get a viable assessment of you in our facility, and your answer was, yeah, not today, maybe on the 26th. You got something else going on, bro? I don't know what you got going on, but college football is over for you. So what do you got going on? To me, that again, I try not to hold him to all of these things, but I don't like that either, man. I don't like that at all. I think that is, again, very me first. I'm more important than the entire Bears organization because my time on the day that you've chosen, I can't move things around for my career-defining meeting. So you guys as an organization can move it around for me. I've got a date with my girlfriend that day. We're going to go watch a movie. Yeah, I couldn't move that movie around. So the entire Bears organization should shift and have me come in on a different day. I don't even understand that as a wow. Your dream job calls you, Keith. And they're like, Keith, you want to come in for an interview? You're going to work for, the biggest real estate firm in the world. We're going to throw you, likely in the ballpark of $600,000 a year. You got a date with your missus. Are you going to cancel the date with the missus, or are you going to go on the date with the missus? Then again, maybe you're in a divorce case scenario, and that might be a relationship limiting situation. I don't know, but I'm going to the interview.
Go ahead, Keith.
So am I.
You respond to it.
So am I. If a big real estate firm reach out to me, kids, and they offer me over $500,000, yeah. Hey, babe, check it out. We can go eat after the interview. But
Hey,
right
yeah,
now,
you can. You can maybe even see the movie
I gotta go get
in
this bag.
Chicago.
Yeah, what got me was when they put that out, and I heard that, I said, "Wow, really? So the team that's supposed to be drafting first, you're going to have them push the meeting that they want to have with you one-on-one to your pro day." Because that's essentially what's happening on the 20th of March is his pro day. So come watch me
So
throw
he's saying,
then,
I'm not
and then
even
I'll
coming
meet
to
with
meet
you.
you at your facility so you can work
No,
me out.
bro.
You're going to have to
No.
follow my stuff at my pro day and come
Come
see
on out to
me.
USC
Wow.
to my pro day. Yeah.
You see what I
So
mean?
for me, I felt like that was very diva, being a diva, but more importantly, once again, either you really trying to reset how things are going to be done in this process, and you're going to try to dictate your terms to us out the gate. But if I'm posed, okay, yeah, we'll be there on the 20th, but it won't be to watch you because you're not going to be the only one working out that day. Because by that time, by the 20th, I'm going to already make a move. You just won't find out about it till after the 20th. That's my take. What about you, Shawn?
Did you say that he said he's only going to have them come to his workout and not because I don't know. Here's what I heard. Well, let me answer. Let you answer the question. Is that what you said? He said, I know
From
he.
my understanding, yes, that he chose to ask to have it pushed back to the 20th, so that way he can meet with them once he throws at his pro day.
It doesn't work like that.
Wait, you mean once? See, yeah, I don't. Make sure you get that right because my understanding was he just pushed it back for another day.
I'm just telling you what I'm telling you what
I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. Make sure. Well, where did you read it? That's the question, and cite them because I don't want people saying, oh well,
okay, let me try to find it while we're talking.
Yeah, because if you say what happens, if you say this, they're like, oh well, this is a crappy podcast or talking nonsense. Like, no, I read it here. I read it from John Smo said this, and this. So keep our credibility without you know what I'm saying, without just adding to the nonsense because there's a whole bunch of craziness out there regarding this as I go through puberty again after 50. Call me Peter Brady when it's time to change.
Yes, sir.
No, but just respond to the idea that he set up to do the 30 on tomorrow, Shawn, and he declined to do it and said he'd rather do it on the 20th. But just respond to that aspect by itself.
If he did, hey Black Diamond, if he did say that, then there's an issue. But again, this is the problem. This is a problem when your kid gets $10 million. All right, this is the issue. All right, if you think for 1 second that it's going to get better, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself. Okay, you are kidding yourself. The fact, and all I've seen is me first attitude. And people will say, well, his teammates love he stayed at the combine. Let me tell you why he stayed at the God-blessed combine. I'll tell you the freaking reason. Because his PR, his image was taking a hit. His image was taking a big-time hit. And his people said, hey, do something that shows you care about something. All right? Hey, why don't you stay at the combine, show you support your fellow combine, your fellow athletes, and stay there and support them, blah, 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 blah. That's, in my opinion, that's why he stayed. Exactly, Barelissimo. Optics. Because why? Oh, Caleb Williams he's the last person here. He's cheering on everybody. He's that, he's this. No, don't give me, listen, I was born at night. I wasn't born last night. I can tell a dude's full of crap when I see it. All right, I can tell it when I see it. He's there for optics. He's there so people talk about it. He's there to rebuild his reputation. He wants that diva thing off of him. But guess what? That diva thing's not on him. It's not going anywhere. It's not leaving. Just because you did that, yes, it's a talk of conversation. But man, wow. Keith, looks like you said you found something.
Okay, yes. Yahoo Sports, according to Albert Breer, and I will correct myself on this. He stated Bears plan to have Williams at Hallis Hall for top 30 visit this Tuesday, right after the NFL Combine. But Williams and Chicago decided to push it to after his March 20 pro day. The Bears will have Williams in the building. So let me correct it. I'm corrected there. In the building for the entire day for the top 30 visit, which will give them a chance to do medicals and make sure he's a fit.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you guys why something's amiss there. I'm gonna tell you exactly why something's amiss. And here's the last point that I wanted to make. If you guys remember, Ryan Poles stated this on press row when he went to interview after interview after interview. He doesn't like Justin being in the gray area, and we want to have him have some clarity before free agency starts, which is on March 13th. That doesn't really, I think, see, this is how I know that Caleb and his people are pulling the strings. Because his PR people have got him to the understanding that they want to give. They're trying to set this up for the Commanders, and they intentionally moved that. I don't think it was mutual whatsoever. I think they had to come to that agreement because he's got the option to do it or not do it, right? Mm-hmm. And so that came out that way, but I don't believe that's the way it played out because I think when Poles said that he wanted to give Justin clarity before free agency, he meant that, and he was planning to get this done, this visit and the workout, the medicals, all the stuff that comes with it before free agency and get Justin Fields the information that he needs and not have this thing drag out any further than that. That's how I know that Caleb's camp and his PR people are pulling the strings here. And so if that makes sense to you, I mean, Ryan Poles did say that everywhere he went. And so his intent was to make sure that all this stuff was cleared up by the time free agency starts.
Next week.
Yep. You know what, Nomad? What's funny about that is to back what you just stated. I heard the same thing on NFL Network last night when they were talking about Caleb with regard to meetings and everything, and about Poles wanting to have a decision made before free agency, and they were talking about certain free agents that may be available and how important it is for that meeting to have taken place before free agency starts on the 13th. So you may be correct on that with regard to maybe there is something already kind of working out in the behind the scenes that we don't know about either. But they did mention that as well, how important it would have been for him to have met with them prior to his pro day and prior to free agency because of certain free agents that are going to become available. Also with regard to how it affects their trade, them trading Justin if they choosing to do so regarding his value before free agency as well.
Chris, before you say it, Chris, could you pull up the Barlissimo one I just started?
Yeah, I'll.
But go ahead, Chris. While you find,
I was just going to say the Albert Breer information quoted by the Yahoo Sports came from a Sports Illustrated article that he wrote 10 hours ago, and it's a pretty good read. It touches on a lot of different angles as far as the strategy in both the Williams camp and how the Chicago Bears are looking at it. Sports Illustrated.
Okay, so Barlissimo basically just read my mind. He just based on the line of conversation I just laid out. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Barlissimo. That's exactly what I think is going on behind the scenes. And I'll read the the text for people that might be listening to the audio pod. Barlissimo says Caleb is tanking any trade value for Fields. He's tanking the ability for anything but to trade that pick, and I trade it to a team that wants him tomorrow. And so I think that's what's really going on, man. I think they're trying to, in their way, absolutely control where he goes, and they're doing it indirectly, I believe. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense to anybody.
It does.
Go ahead, kids.
I don't really have much for that, man. Like it is possible that that team is really making maneuvers to somehow keep Justin's trade value down. I I don't know. None of it.
I think keeping Justin's trade value down is just happen to be in for another way of saying it. That's a stray. But that's a stray. It might actually be helping to bring his trade value down, but I don't think that's the intent.
I think it is. If that's what they're doing, I think it would have to be in tanking Justin's trade value. That makes it less likely that the Bears will trade him, right? Like that's what's going to happen. If you're not going to get any viable return for the kid, you might as well just keep him on your roster. Even if that's in a backup capacity. But the then hope would be that you trade. You trade the number one pick, send Caleb somewhere where he actually wants to go if that's what he's trying to do. And off he goes. We gain more picks. We can make whatever decisions we need to make. But at this point, I don't I said it earlier into the pod. I'm not really sure what to think with all of the stuff floating out there now. Like I've been speculating and saying that the media really is singing the same tune and they feel that Justin's gone already. That's really the tune they're singing. And in my mind, it's fair, if that's what they're doing, then in my mind that
well, let me answer what Drew Black is. He's making some statements in here, kind of like accusations. He's saying you're sitting here insinuating he's intentionally tanking Fields' trade value. Man, listen, all I'm doing is bringing to you guys in this show what I've seen, what I've heard to be true. What people think of it is their own, that's the conclusion they come to. We're just here to report it to you. We do the job as podcasters to give you an honest opinion on how to interpret it. But we're not ever going to try to down this guy or down this young guy and make him look like something that he isn't. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. That's it, man. It's for nothing other than that. And we're guesstimating why some of this stuff is happening. Drew, that is not the correct way to look at it. I think you just may be hearing it wrong because you support Caleb Williams. Maybe that's the case. But go ahead, man. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, I was totally ignoring the Drew Black comments in the chat. Drew Black, you're I haven't seen you in the chat very frequently. You're clearly sort of a new guy to all of this. We've been sort of covering this thing from both sides for a very long time. Nomad may be a heck of a lot more on the keep Justin Fields case scenario than I am. I'm not on the draft Caleb Williams side of it either. I want capital. I want, in my opinion, I think we have a lot of holes that require filling, and it's not Justin versus Caleb. To me, it is build the super team and do what you need to do to get a quarterback or maintain the existing quarterback or develop him. That's where I am. And I'm going to give you more on that. If we couldn't develop Justin Fields and we've never successfully developed a quarterback, bringing another quarterback into the mix is just ridiculous to me. It's just a silly idea for everybody to be on and to have. We've never done this, right? If you can't swim, you go buy a pool. Funny thing, my dad can't swim. He bought a pool. I'm not saying my dad's an idiot, but maybe he's an idiot. I don't know where this all goes. None of it makes sense to me anymore. And weeks ago, I was at the level where I lost, give a what. I'm not sure if I do anymore. I just want this team to be in the Super Bowl in the next 3 to 4 years maximum. I have less faith that they're going to get there by drafting one guy really this year with out of 6 picks and putting all of that pressure on him, forcing him out there in the first year to be that guy and do that job. Because, feel free to look across the NFL over the years. Very seldom does a guy just come out there and rock and roll and he's the guy. You can count them. You know who they are. Doesn't happen every year. Didn't happen last year. That's why we have the number 1 pick again. So what are we going to do? We're going to go and draft a guy and put all that pressure on him. He's going to be the guy. And if he flounders and fails, why do I have to go through this again? If he flounders and fails in year 1, that means Flus is gone. Flus is on the hot seat. Clue in, guys. And when Flus goes and the new guy comes in with his whole new staff, and Caleb's on his second offensive coordinator, second head coach, he's going to look, smell, and feel a whole lot like H1M, year 2. And we're in the cycle all over again, guys. We're spinning in the cycle.
No, I think you might have phrased it wrong, and words are very powerful. I don't know, not you, Heads, Nomad. He's not diminishing his value. What he's doing is he's putting Ryan Poles on on the hot seat. He's not diminishing, because I don't think Justin Fields' trade value is going to change. It's people are still going to want him. But what he's doing is, because he wants to help Justin get this done before free agency, he's saying, well, no, we'll meet after free agency. So now you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision. So we're not going to meet till after. Does he want to do wrong by Justin? He said he wants to do right by Justin. So is he kind of forcing Ryan Poles' hand, saying, okay, well, since you don't want to meet because you're preparing for your pro day, like, first of all, what do you have to do to prepare for your pro day? If it's your pro day at USC, then guess what? Usually the school will handle that. Or guess what? You just earned $10 million. You can get people to handle that and set it up for you. But he's trying to say, okay, if Ryan Poles wants to have this done by free agency, well, I'm going to do it after free agency. So you have to make a decision, but by the time free agency starts, which shows me he doesn't want to come here. That's what that shows me.
Well, before the next person chimes in, man, if you don't mind, Chris, playing a quick station ID, and we'll get right back to it on the other side.
The best Chicago Bears content anywhere. Catch Nomad live pregame 1 hour prior to kickoff, and Nomad at night postgame, and every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Central on all the most popular streaming platforms, and only on the Nomad Network.
That's right, you guys. Keep us growing, keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep liking the content, and make sure you go and do the same thing over on Sports Zone Chicago. We need the same love, that same energy over there, man. We would really and truly appreciate any and all of your help, man, because straight up, man, we need it. We're growing channels, and we're trying to put ourselves in position to really do something out here in this podcast world with these YouTube channels, and every little bit helps. So if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the family, man, welcome. Ladies or gentlemen, welcome to the family. That's how we treat each other over here. Whether we agree or disagree, we're all one. It's one family over here, and we can have differences and argue, but we'll be back right here loving on each other later, man, because we all want the same thing. We all want everybody to. We want the Bears to win it. And how we get there, is an argument right now. I'm gonna reemphasize this. I'm never gonna be here to bring that young man down, ever. I'm here to point out things that I know and I've heard, and to have people respond to them. I can give you my opinion, and sometimes it's strong, sometimes it's very passionate, but it doesn't mean I dislike the kid or I'm trying to diminish his character at all. But you can read things and have a response to it and not jump to the holy conclusion that, oh, Nomad's trying to tear down the kids. No, man, stop that. I don't even appreciate you guys in the chat that said that. I saw who said that, Brandon. I don't appreciate that at all. It's not what I'm trying to do. And you know that. Now, you support Caleb. That's fine. I support keeping Justin Fields. I like what we have. And that's just my whole thing anyway, man. That's it for me. Nothing else really. Anything trying to assassinate someone's character, man, that's not cool. Don't accuse me of that. I'm better than that. But go ahead, guys.
Hey, let me chime in on the last statement really quick. With regard to what I also heard, again, on NFL Network last night, is the fact that there is very little trade value for Fields, and it's not that Fields isn't a good player. Essentially, what's going on, what I see happening is the same thing that happened with Lamar Jackson when he was going through his contract negotiations, and the media or whoever put out there that nobody is trying to trade for Lamar. And I think they did that because they knew, had they tried to trade for him, that the Ravens was going to match it anyway. I think a lot of this information is being put out there because, again, I really believe that there's some back channel conversations going on. This is to help with Poles to make that move with that pick So in the event they do trade down to Washington, Washington can move up and get their guy. Now, what could possibly backfire is there's some other teams now that are saying that they need a quarterback. The New York Giants is one of them. So it's going to really, what could really throw a monkey wrench in the program, and isn't to say that it would affect Caleb being number one, but it could, because there could be another team out there that wants that number one pick, and it's not to take Caleb, it's to take somebody else, one of the other quarterbacks, because there were a couple quarterbacks that did get a chance to throw at the combine that I think really helped their case by participating over the weekend. So that's another little piece that we could toss in there. It's the media that's saying Caleb Williams is the consensus number one, but teams are looking at the tape right now. There's other players that is emerging. Jaden Daniels. Hey, Michael Penix Jr. looked really good. So I'm just saying the media is saying he's consensus, but the tape never lies. And looking at the tape right now, there's a few other guys that's starting to emerge and could potentially be that number one pick.
I don't even want to touch that either, but I do want to give our Kirk some love. If Caleb is yanking the Bears chain, if Caleb is yanking the Bears chain, trade him to the Pats. And I had to read that, and I immediately started laughing, because if we're a little bit worried about him as a person, just personality wise, whether that's going to gel and fit on the Bears, with the Bears organization. Again, Bears fans and Bears media is a little bit rough on these quarterbacks. So I worry about, that's the only, I'm not really worried about Caleb from a talent perspective. He's a very good quarterback, like he is. I am a little bit, I'm a little bit worried about his ability to actually take care of and handle the scrutiny and pressure that we're all going to put on him real soon. And to be honest with you, if he went to New England, I think they'd beat that out of him.
Hey, I wanted to see where you at right now. I want to ask you and the rest of the guys this question. Just try to picture it, if you could. His personality with Matt Eberflus. How do you see that working? Do you see that coexisting? Yes, I do, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because Matt Eberflus isn't really a personality, right? Like there's other coaches out there who are fiery, in your face, and they're personalities that you have to sort of circumnavigate. Eric Bieniemy, you kind of have to circumnavigate certain people. Bill Belichick. There's a list of guys who really are, are who they are, and you have to do what they say or deal with it. I don't feel like Matt Eberflus is really that particular guy. He doesn't seem like a fiery, in-your-face coach. I think the two of them would potentially get along just fine. I think it'll be a situation where he winds up protecting him more so than anything else. But that's my take.
You got these guys you don't build that type of defense without having that personality. You don't get that team there's a facade, all right, that many people don't realize. All right, there's a facade when you talk to the media, you give them what you want to give them. Okay, when you talk to your team, you give them yourself. All right, his conversation, you've seen the Bears, and the Bears do a good. The media team does a great job of post-game speeches. All right, and those post-game speeches are a little more personal than when he's up there, and he's good. He's decent at the podium, not great, he's decent. All right, but you see, and that's not going to fly with him. That personality, that's not going to fly with him. He's the type of guy who team first always is what it seems to be like for him. He's old school. He's my age. All right, team first, and you understand it's a new generation, but the bottom underlying layer, the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it has to be team first. And the more he stuff like this, like I said, I got a connection. One of my best friends from college, one of my running back buddies was his high school football coach. So I want to get him on my show and talk about it, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really like about this kid. But it's the new generation. When you just $10 million as a kid in college. You want to run things. All right. You felt, tell me you didn't feel his arrogance or his cockiness in his presser. You didn't. I did. I saw it. I heard it. I felt it. I'm like, oh, he's a $10 million kid. And, what are you going to tell him? Really nothing. So
go ahead, Shawn. Keep going.
No, I was
before
saying,
you do it, Don, we'll just give it up. So Don, hey, what's up, Don? We miss you, bro. It's been a minute. We know the lines got dropped out. It's been a minute. We feel, both Nomad and I feel, because I had to identify it first. We feel that Jameer Gibbs is in the chat saying, "Who the heck is Don Burr?" But I'm pretty darn sure. I'm pretty darn sure Jameer Gibbs is Don Burr 5.0. But hey, welcome back, Don. If that's you, brother, welcome back, bro.
He be playing too many games, man. You can't hide nothing from me, Don. I keep on trying to tell you, man. I got you faded, man. You're never gonna sneak in here. I'm always get you. Just know
That was too funny. Sorry, Shawn, man. We had to blow it up for Don Burr's return.
Yeah, no, one of the guys posted it, and I get it. It makes sense. He said, what if he has a heart murmur or has something else? But wouldn't they have, no, they wouldn't have caught that. They can't put it out at USC, a HIPAA loss. So yeah, I get it. You're right. I understand. But it's a lot of diva-ish attitude, and there's something, to me, something's there because you just don't want to. Now it's a very good possibility. I don't want to do it. Why? Because I'm a $10 million Heisman Trophy winning #1 overall pick. I can. It's very possible. All right, but there's something not sitting well with me. There's something, and this is the back in the day, and then again here I'm sound like get off my lawn guy. When Michael and Charles are talking, Michael, and no, I think both of them said it. Where they talked about young kids getting their signature shoe before they even dribble the basketball in the league. And he said, we have to earn it. Well, now, unfortunately, that's changed. It's really now that's on steroids because now you have to have, so the next thing is who's going to sign Caleb? What? Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get the entitlement. There you go. You're going to get the entitlement from these young players. And that's the thing that sucks. That's the thing that sucks. And it's tough because you got to put yourself in their position too. They're trying to maximize the amount of money they can make. You understand? They're trying to maximize the amount of money. So it's tough for me to come down on a guy. Yeah, he seems like he's being a diva. Why? Because this is the way it's always been. This is the way it's always been. This is what we're used to. Is he hurting anybody? No. Is he protecting himself? Is it okay to protect yourself because you don't want everybody to know your medical history? Is that a bad thing? No. From the optics point of view, it's selfish and diva-ish. But what if there is, you know what I mean? And what if he, remember, how many people we know, a lot of people have, different issues with their heart or something, and they're still able to play. And that could be costing him millions of dollars. We don't know.
Well, even that, Shawn, like that's going to come out. That has to come out. You can't, if you have a heart defect, if you have a medical issue like that, these teams will do whatever they need to do to suss that out and understand it before they throw, $26 million at you, bro. Like that's what that process is for. And this is why we had our little discussion after last night's show, because I don't understand the value of the combine anymore. So from what Nomad is saying, it's the underwear Olympics. They can get all these medicals, measurements, 40 time, etc. at a pro day or elsewhere. Fine. So if that's the case, then from an evaluation perspective, combine probably isn't what it used to be, and maybe they should do away with it. And then I flip it and I go, but what if you're Braden Fisk? What if you're that guy who nobody was checking for really, and you come out there and blow the doors off and make a name for yourself? The combine's extremely important for guys like that. Like Brian Thomas Jr. as a for instance. Again, not to say nobody was checking for Brian Thomas Jr., but he definitely upped his stock. Worthy upped his stock, this weekend. The combine's important to those guys. And all these other guys not participating devalues the combine as a whole. So my thoughts is, if NIL money is really a big chunk of it, and I feel that it is, you brought it up earlier there, Shawn, too. I feel that that's really the catalyst here. I think the NFL should partner with the NIL in some capacity and create their own revised combine case scenario for these athletes where they actually have to compete, or and pay them to compete so that it's worth their while. But that's
Well,
me.
on top of that,
It's such a weird
but on
situation
top
this
of
year.
that, kids, but also, like I said too, and then the other side to it is also for that fan who don't get an opportunity to watch you play every Saturday, and now you have you have this platform where you can actually display your talents, you know, and throw some passes,
You
run a
talking about the
40,
combine?
run a few drills. Well, yeah, I'm talking about the
Nah, bro.
combine.
Yeah, come on.
No, wait a minute,
It
Shawn. Wait a
also,
minute. Hear me on this though, Shawn.
all right.
I understand it from a player's perspective why they're starting to not like the process. But for that fan who can't go to Indiana and actually be present at the combine, but can sit and watch the television and learn a bit about how the evaluations are done. That's the reason for the combine for that common fan, so that they can feel like they're part of a process, because the fans want to feel like they're part of a process, and social media is giving them a platform to feel like they're part of a process so they can voice their opinions on who should be drafted, who shouldn't be drafted, who should be traded. So when we're having this discussion, whether we agree or not, it's there's layers to this thing with regard to who thinks it's valuable, who doesn't feel it's valuable, how does NIL affect it, how the league is going to handle it moving forward. That's all what we're really saying. We all may agree to disagree, but we have to put it in that perspective to say, okay, as a common fan, how can they be connected to these players? Because oftentimes they don't get to see these guys. They're in a uniform with a helmet on. If you
Yeah, they
walk
do.
past
There's a
them on
thing
the
called
street, most
YouTube,
people wouldn't
bro.
even see them.
There's a thing called
I get
YouTube where
all
they
that
can
too,
go and they could and they but that's
well,
they,
with that
they
being
they don't
said,
they don't
Shawn,
care about the NFL don't care about the fans wanting to connect with their player. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's that doesn't hold much water. I understand your
okay,
point with the
all
helmet
right.
and everything, because it is unlike baseball and basketball. They're not, their face isn't seen. I get that, but yeah, to me I think that
We're going to agree to disagree on this one, my brother.
Well,
okay.
hold on, fellas, because kids did
Okay.
hijack the conversation we were supposed to be talking about Caleb Williams and the decisions that he's made, and we're talking about the combine, which is cool. That's a hell of a conversation too. But fellas, I did want to get to one other thing before we got out of here. The
Go
trade deadline. I mean, the tag deadline is tomorrow,
Deadline.
and we have not gotten any word about a contract for Jalen Johnson. What do you guys think is going on? What do you think is going to happen? Start with kids.
Man, yeah, I don't. So Ryan did come out and say he wanted to get something done, and that they were semi close. There's a little issues with the time. Jalen wants to be able to sign, a second big contract by the age of 30, and they're sort of in the middle of all of that. I would like to think they get this deal done, mainly because we're short. You can't just balk on your blue chip players every time there's a negotiation to happen. You need to be stocking up these blue chippers. Period. If Ryan really feels that the franchise tag is the only way that this is going to get done, then by all means. But we are running out of time. You're right, and I would love to hear within the next few hours that something gets set into stone. But I have a strange feeling that might not be the case.
Go ahead, Keith.
I have to agree with you, kids. And I think another message can be sent with this as well. If you don't get it done, let's say you end up not, let's get it done before the franchise tag, because essentially, if you end up franchise tagging them, then what's going to end up happening? What message are you sending to the rest of the locker room, especially those guys that are quote unquote your guys? Now I get it. He wasn't one of Pole's guys, but he has proven himself. He bet on himself, and I believe that they can possibly get it done. And by betting on himself, he's earned himself a quite of a payday. So I think again, I think they're probably trying to hammer out some verbiage. Again, just pure speculation on my behalf. I would like to see it get done because what time do they have up until tomorrow to franchise tag them? No man,
I want
Three
to see it.
Central. 3 Central.
is this
Yeah.
3 Central?
3 Central.
So hopefully by it's not done, and hopefully it gets done before 3 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. If not, then we know he's going to probably get tagged.
Yeah, but
Unfortunately,
you could just tag them and then work on a deal later. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's fine.
absolutely.
And so, if they can't, I think that's exactly what's going to happen, and that's fine. But because it could show that you don't want to pay your guy. But if what'll happen is if you tag them and then work out a deal, that sends a message as well. That sends a message as well to the players saying, look, we couldn't come to an agreement, but I want to continue this conversation because I value you. And by getting that deal done and removing the franchise tag, that says a lot to the players. And they're like, okay, you could have just done boom, franchise tag me and we're done. But no, you franchise tag me, we continue this conversation, and I got a deal done. That speaks volumes to players too. That shows that you really give a damn. That is showing that you want to take care of your own players, which is what players want to see when they go to an organization. Like, wow, they take care of us. Or if you get drafted by an organization, oh, snap, okay, he just bought time. All right, listen, I got to do this. I got to franchise tag you. We're gonna keep this conversation going. The last thing I want you to do is play on this franchise tag. So let's get back to negotiating. But I have to do this. You know it. Your representation knows it. You have to. We got to do this because it's going to buy us time. And players talk. They know, and that will go along big time with that'll send positive vibes, positive shocks through that locker room. Man, he really wanted this guy here, so he bought that time.
So since for the sake of time, because we only have 2 minutes and we got to do shout outs before we get out of here, I'll say this, and this is what I hope won't happen, that it gets signed in the middle of the night and we have to do an emergency pod because I want to spend the rest of the evening schmoozing and boozing with my female friend of mine or the person in my life. We're going to be drinking and eating wings and watching movies. But I hope nothing happens overnight because I don't want to have to do a damn emergency podcast. Whatever happens, I hope it happens tomorrow and we'll be ready for it. But with that being said, you guys want to go around the horn real quick before we get out of here?
Yo, chat was popping today, guys. No man, thanks for coming through. 100 in the chat. Be sure to like, share, subscribe so others can get access to this podcast, get access to our content, and and cuss us out if they see the need fit in the chat, because that seems to be happening quite a bit today. That being the case, look, I have a special place in my heart for folks who use win losses as a quarterback stat. That is like the lowest place in my heart. My heart doesn't beat there. It's like I don't even know. You know what I mean? It's just the silliest thing I've ever heard. There was a clear tank season, guys. If you think they were trying to win during the tank season, I don't know what to tell you. And to make matters worse, there were situations where Justin's putting up 28 points and the defense is allowing 35 to 40 plus points in losses. But all of those losses are on Justin Fields' shoulders, squarely, no excuses. All you, Justin. Sorry, bro. I don't get it. If you don't like him, you don't like him. Please find another stat to use. Find one that makes actual sense. If you're like, I can't stand it. Once more, I don't really care who quarterbacks anymore. I just want a super team that wins a Super Bowl. Somebody get me a super team. Ryan Poles, please. Anyhow, Keith, man, I'll throw it over to you. No Maniacs, love you guys. Thanks for representing with us.
To everybody today, thank you again for joining us and for being part of the show. Those in the chat, as always, we really appreciate the spirited debate within the chat, as well as we have here on the panel. Mm-hmm. You know, we are here not to always agree. You know, and that's the great thing about this platform is the fact that we can share our thoughts, our spirited thoughts as well, whether we agree or disagree. But in the end, we all want the same thing. I'm with kids. I do want to, I did see the '85 Super Bowl win, and heck, I want another one. So it's time. I just hope Poles can get it right, whatever that decision is. I am pro Fields, and that's because I've been following the young man since he was in high school. So I'm a little biased, but at the same time, like I said earlier today, if it means that he has to go somewhere where he's actually wanted, then I'm happy for him. I'm going to keep an eye on his career wherever he does go. But in the event that he's still in the Bears uniform, like I said, we're going to bear down and we're going to keep it moving. With that being said, I'm going to pass it to my man Shawn. But for everybody else, enjoy the rest of your afternoon and have a very safe evening. If you're traveling, if you happen to be at work and sneaking and listening to us, safe travels home.
Hey, Shawn, if you could be short, man, I love you for it because I got hot food.
Well,
This
in that
dude here,
case,
I tell you, man.
first of all, let me tell you, I want to thank my mom for meeting my dad.
Well played, sir. Oh, you shall go back to high school, grade school thing. It's grade 6.
I want to thank
Don't
the
forget your high
substitute
school
teacher.
coach, Shawn.
I want to thank the substitute teacher that I had that one time because she showed us the movie, and I was really tired that day, and that really made me a better athlete, a better man, a better person. I just remember, I can't remember her name, but man, it was great. No, I got you. Hey, listen, guys, sports owners, no maniacs. Dude, thank you for tuning in. It was live, and this, you know what? This is why it's real, all right? Because like me and Keith didn't agree on something today. That happens. All right, we're two different minds, and we keep it a buck with you, man. And that's the thing. I think that's why so many of you guys like us is because we do keep it a buck. We don't say stuff. There's no company line to toe. There's no nothing. We give our actual opinion, and I think that's what's so. Bellissimo.
Man, hell with you, Bellissimo, man.
One time in band camp.
Oh, yes.
But you know what? Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to continue to keep giving this content every day. Check out my shows. Make sure you go to Sports Zone Chicago's YouTube channel, all right, and subscribe there as well, please. I'd appreciate it. We're getting our subs up. They're crawling up and they're moving up, and it's like George and Weezy. They're moving on up, and I appreciate it. Tell your family, your friends, all right, to check us out over there. Check us out here. And we're going to continue to give you great Bears coverage. And again, don't forget, there's a lot of football seasons have been played, by guys on this panel. It's a little different than just guys who watch the game. It's a little different. So guys, have a great night. All right, if you're in the Chicagoland area, it looks like it might want to rain, but it's been nice and it's been very mild. Make sure you guys enjoy this weather. All right, and bear down.
Yeah, I heard y'all temperature's about to drop too.
Hold on now, damn it. Thanks for coming. See you next week. No, I'm just kidding. No, man, love you guys.
I hope you're going to share, Nomad.
Look, why do you care about the hot food? You can put yourself on mute and eat behind it. You ain't got to. You ain't.
Right.
Hey, when it comes to my wangs, I gotta have them steaming, Jack.
Oh, see, there we go.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody for coming. Appreciate the co-hosts here, man. I had a good time. Had a good time doing the show, man. It was very spirited in the chat and as well as the co-host, man. We don't know what's gonna happen. I got my estimation on what I think is happening, and if it's the way I think it is, I think it's setting up perfectly for Ryan Poles. But I think we're going to definitely know something here in short order. I don't know what short order really means. I think before free agency, but that's me. I think it's going to happen before free agency, whatever it is. But, that's just my opinion. I think Jalen is probably going to get tagged as well. But with that being said, man, I'll thank you guys one more time for being here. But I got to leave you with these famous words before I go eat. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
And chicken.
Bear down, guys.